Hello, top of the morning to you. Literally, it's 10:50 a.m., 20 after or 10 till 11, 10 till 11 Eastern Standard Time, February 12th, Tuesday, 2019. This is my second attempt at this video. I started 5 or 6 minutes ago and deleted it because I went on a tangent and lost my train of thought, and then it was dead air. I could not remember why I was talking about uh, some event 2 weeks ago. All right, so um, making this video partly to tune myself up in case I want to do something this morning. I've got a very late start. On the other hand, the other day I was up at 5 a.m. Today I was up at a decent time, but no power whatsoever, no heat, nothing. So I left the house and hauled my computer and my laptop, not this one, but went on down to the coffee shop and um, that's where I spent another 20 minutes trying to log on there, only to find out from my neighbor that the power left pretty much when I drove away. Excuse me, the power came back on pretty much when I left and drove away after I'd knocked on their door to make sure that I was that that I was not the only one with power out, helping to troubleshoot what was going on, why I didn't have power or heat or anything like that. So I'm back, and there's uh, a question. It's like, well, I missed a lot of information. I kind of got discombobulated. That sort of messes up your mental frame of mind. It can, and had frustrations when I was out and about. Of course, there's always traffic, and then there's other frustrations, and then I couldn't log on. Um, you name it. Called the power company. Couldn't. Kept my phone kept hanging. It's a long story, but the point is now I come back and am I frazzled? I'd love to say I'm Superman, but I'm not. Things affect me, and when you're trading, it's really like you wouldn't want to go through all that rigmarole just to get behind the starting block or on the starting line for an Olympic event. You want to be focused, you want to be framed up, ready to compete. Okay, so here we come back, and I missed the open. A lot of information gleaned from the opening activity. Conviction is gleaned from that. Volume, many kinds of things. And here it is. Morning's almost gone. What do I call it a day? No, I don't think so. I mean, I want to stick with my discipline of looking at the markets and doing my practice and all that kind of thing. Of when I say practice, like a doctor's practice, they practice. They do it every day, but they practice. That's what I mean. So like preparing and analyzing and all these kinds of things are part of it. And even if I end up not trading, I can do that every day. Every day is another vitamin, if you will, another brick in the wall, another step up the mountain. That's probably the better analogy. Okay, it's another step up the mountain to where you're going, which is the summit, which is total autonomy and highly efficient, highly commanding of your trading, really. And I've come so far, but I don't know that I'm there at all. But and hopefully, and maybe I'll always feel that way. Like musicians or top performers, they very often still get stage fright after 20, 30 years of being professional musicians. They still get stage fright. So maybe that's that kind of thing. I never feel, because let's face it, you're going to lose in the market. You're going to take a lesson. Let me put it that way. You're going to take a lesson. Never lose. Take a lesson, right? So since I've had the charts open, had some computer issues as well. About 15, 20 minutes now, things kind of warmed up. Nothing's really happened. See period. This is not really very slow tempo. But anyway, so here we are. It's still morning. There's a lot of day left. And you might want to feel like, well, I missed it. I certainly don't want to risk money and lose because I'm not dialed in. I'll be mad at myself if I go ahead and trade and have a bad day. But there's other times, and I'm sure you've experienced too, where for whatever reason you couldn't be there, but you tuned in later and you saw a trade and bam, you nailed it. It was awesome. And it's like, wow, thank the Lord I didn't have to sit there all morning. I might have lost money and then only maybe come back to break even if I was still around for that trade. You just saw the market perfectly. Everything had set up. You'd seen what happened. So there's both a disadvantage and advantage to starting late. but there's some things that I like to do to sort of get myself dialed in. One of them has been going through the price action to kind of see what happened in the overnight. That's a daily thing that helps. And I have a partner. My trading partner does not trade generally during the initial balance at all. Okay, now this is where I went off on a tangent before, and I got stuck and had to start the video over. So I used to be of the exact same mindset. I did not trade. If I did trade, it was, early, in my early days, it was definitely only on a sim account because I did not understand what was happening at all in the open. It was just wild and crazy, especially in A period. And now that's my favorite time to trade. How do you like that? If you don't feel that way, then I wish you would, because it's it can really, you can take care of business sometimes even before the market opens or coming into the open. And really, you might be smart to be done by 10 a.m. Eastern. You're done. You just, save it for tomorrow. Go do something else, something more otherwise productive, or what you enjoy. Come in fresh again tomorrow. Or pop in later in the afternoon and you see something, but, take the money and run, There's also the viewpoint. You could sit there all day long and trade, and you can do that. But after years of doing this, I'm tired of sitting here all day long. In fact, I find it very difficult anymore, even if I want to. I feel like it's unhealthy, and it is unhealthy in a lot of ways. So at least at this point for me, where I am, I really need to get more activity, and I'm working on it. But there were years where, boy, this consumed me. I traded all day. I programmed signals and learned programming language on different platforms and watched webinars and read books. I mean, day and night. Okay. Because when I got immersed, is that a word? Immersed in this, which I intended to do, I became mired in this. Maybe it's just mired. I became mired in this, and realizing that, wow, becoming a profitable trader is, it's almost a death trap, because you're in it and you don't realize what you're up against. You don't realize how hard it is. And I don't care how they want to make it easy sounding to get rich and show you the commercials that they're trading from a laptop from the beach, and they're still out there. I get these videos pop up on my YouTube channel that are advertising this. They're always selling this lifestyle of riches and autonomy and luxury. Hey, that's really nice, and it's attainable. It's something somebody can do. I got into trading because I'd already been accustomed to working from home, and I like that kind of freedom. But I wanted to be able to make enough money that I could do the other things I'm really interested in. And both fortunately and unfortunately, I got sucked into trading in a way where it became more than I bargained for, in a good way and a bad way. Okay, so why am I saying all this? Well, because when I first started, I was always, and I've mentioned this another time in a video, I was told, don't trade in the first hour. It's amateur hour. And I was told this in very authoritative terms from somebody that, I'd already had enough bad medicine from trading to realize that I better listen to this guy, Well, I'm not saying he didn't know what he was talking about. He actually, because it is kind of wild and chaotic, I don't know that he really knew how to teach someone how to trade it. And it was better just to keep people from getting in trouble. And he told them that. And, I set about on my own to learn how to trade it. And I've become quite, much better at it. Let's put it that way. And I think if you've watched my videos, you understand what I'm saying. Like, you can see how I've mapped it out, and generally, I have some pretty good insight into where, and I don't mean this immodestly. This is hard-won insight to where what might happen even in the first couple of minutes. So my point is that we've set up now. So generally, this used to be the time to trade. But again, you missed a lot of information and price action and what's happened. And so, all right. If I've lost your interest already, I'm sorry. But I'm everybody's different, and this is what I'm doing today. I had kind of a rough start to the day, and I'm trying to get with it, right? So look, here's what I like to do if I don't know what's going on, and I'm going through this because it's easy to forget to do this stuff. When you get very adept at reading a profile and having a general idea of the trend and thing like that, you can start to get sloppy and skip steps. Ask me how I know. So I find this is a good opportunity to take stock, not stock in the market, but take stock like inventory of what's happening here. So I'm going to let me do something here. Now I'm sharing. Okay, I'm sharing the application. So now I need to switch that. So give me 1 second because I've not done this in the midstream before. Let's see here. I think I'll be able to do it. Okay. So first thing I want to do, all right. So now I'm sharing FX Street. Okay, you should see FX Street right now. Now there's other economic calendars, and for whatever reason this morning, I don't know what's going on. My login and password's not working, and my email's not registered anymore. But I recommend registering here because that way when you log in, if you use this one, it'll dial into your time, and very often it'll reset. And that's also an important safety tip that many times if you're looking at economic calendar, make sure you got the time right. Ask me how I know. Because if you're on the wrong time zone, that can mess you up. So let's see what happened today. I missed it. Redbook Index pre-market. We had Jolt. Sorry, that's one that there's no red deal here like there is on this Fed Chair Powell, the Federal Reserve entity. Let's call it that for now. Federal Reserve entities Chair Powell. I think it's Jerome Powell is his name. He's speaking at 12:45. All right, that's an hour, almost 2 hours away. All right, the job openings. What happened? It was positive. That was bullish. Well, the market seemed to be up. Okay, so let's see here. What else is coming up? All right, not anything really till later in the afternoon, at least this way. Okay, and this on this in the U.S. news. Okay, and notwithstanding black swan events and whatnot. All right, so I don't need any more from this. Okay, so next thing I do now, this is a Hightower report. I get this. Well, you can get it through different companies. I have different brokerages, whatever, and they both provide this. Well, two of them provide this. And this this is great. Now they have like different ones for different markets, and the stock indices one. I typically I read this paragraph and this paragraph, and maybe sometimes the market ideas, but that's generally going to be for how do I say it? The different kind of trading that I do, But I just get a feel for what there's wisdom in the multitude of counselors. Okay, so if you don't have counselors, people who are either looking at markets differently than you, they do a lot with fundamentals and news, and they have insights that I'm not going to necessarily make these connections just by lack of the experience or the awareness or the education in macroeconomics or whatever's going on. Just give me a feel. Over time, I expect I'm going to become quite expert in this, but in several years, I'm definitely not there yet. It changes every day. That makes it more difficult to learn. Really need to want to organize and make more sense of this information, or take a course, or something like that to help me understand. Even though I'm not directly trading the fundamentals, that's not how I trade. But this is helpful. So I tend to read that. Kind of gets me in the mode. Maybe helps me understand what happened, and that's educational going forward for when there's it's pre-market. But in this case, I'm reading it later in the day, and this was put out at 6:06 a.m. I don't know if that was Yeah, Central Time. There you go, Central Time. Okay. All right. So the next thing, I might want to look at Market Watch and look at their, what headlines have come up. Um, what headlines have come up. So this is just, I believe, the splash page. Okay. So, and I'm not logged in here, but you can register here. I might look at, all right, here's latest. I'm not sure if that's the one I want. Yeah, this is it. News viewer. Okay. Top stories. Just go here. Top stories. Some of it's just political. Just, it's the news anymore isn't everything you need to know. It's more than that. It's stuff you don't need to know, right? So scan through this a little bit back to this morning, maybe even early. Might want to read something, learn something about the jolts, if you want to, stuff like that. Take your time, get in the mood. And again, if this video is like completely different, and now for something completely different, Monty Pythonism, if this is something that you are not interested in, that's fine. If this is like pedantic to you, that's fine too. I'm doing my thing, and I'm also, again, as I've said before, I'm planning I'm trying to put things together to where somebody who's brand new to trading, or is not, or is still neophyte, or still after a couple years, like I did, still really struggling. That's what I'm here for. Okay. And that's what I'm doing. And this is me stretching out in some of those areas that I feel I'm recognizing a need. And this is one of them. Getting a late start. How do you hang it up and just wait till tomorrow? Let's say you had a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment, or something else. A child was sick in school. You had to go pick them up and you got interrupted. Things like this. All right. So it's not super important. I'm not exactly trading the news, but nothing's jumping out at me here. So we already saw the Jolts deal. Now that. So now this is the Drudge Report. Sometimes I'll look at this. Is there anything that's in red or on the headline that I need to know about, risk on, risk off type of things? Meaning, is there any sentiment culturally, globally, nationally, that is going to be one of those? Because there's sometimes things like that happen, that all of a sudden the market's going down and whatever, and I'll read some insight that it's because of there's uncertainty about the trade talks were canceled because of some tweet, or whatever, something like that. Okay, I'm just making that up, but something like that. And I might glean something from that to kind of understand what's going on. Is this going to be likely to continue happening? Is it's going to continue to rally today based on some wonderful thing? Like, let's say, for example, the president of the United States has done something that has been being worked on forever, and the market's been bullish since this news has been out, and is likely to continue to be bullish because that was a big deal. Okay, I can't think of something come to mind. But anyway, so I might check the Drudge Report. By the way, I'm not endorsing this at all. This is one of the most viewed websites and news aggregates there is. But this fella, even though this is reputed to be a conservative website, I know he's I believe let me just say this without getting too polarizing to anybody, but this fella that runs the website, he peppers this with lots of perverse articles. There's lots of perversity that seems to find in here. Like almost like National Enquirer type stories, generally revolving around some kind of sexual perversity that's put in here. Okay, so just that being said, I'm not a big fan of this. To get more, I will make a plug. I would say for I don't subscribe to everything this guy subscribes to, but he always says, and I can tell you, he's probably more effective than Drudge. He puts headlines in here 24/7, and if you just read the headlines, and this is what he says, you don't have to read the articles, but he actually rewrites the headlines to really distill it down. You can get a lot of good information here. Now, there's a lot of stuff on here about UFOs and whatnot, and that's another story. But as far as a news aggregate, this has a lot of this breaks it down, and it really he has a radio show, so he has people on all the time, every night. He's got a 3-hour show, and he gets people that have viewpoints, and most of them are experts in some field or another, or journalists or something, and they're talking about stuff that will that you'll never hear anywhere else, and very interesting things. And if you want an education, you need to consider all the facts, right? You need to consider all the viewpoints, and then using reason and few other methods, distill what the truth is yourself. Okay. So anyway, that's a side note. You can have that for free. All right. So, all right. So I'm going to switch back the application. Okay. Let's see here. So now I've looked at the news, looked at any news events coming up. 12:45. Want to watch out. There, it was marked in red. Jerome Powell is going to flap his jaws, and maybe the market's going to make a move. Okay. So let's see here. Got to do the screen share thing again. Hang on. Get back to the trading situation. Okay, well, if you don't find this useful, maybe you find it entertaining. Okay, and that's good. And again, you can have the tip on the rent site for free. Okay, and if through this process you think you're getting to know a little bit about me, maybe not. Okay, but I would encourage you to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I'm either live or whatnot, and give me some feedback. You can even send me a private message if it's something you'd rather not post. That's fine. I'd like to, and if you're going to say, oh, don't tell me personal stuff, this and that. Well, look, if you've ever been in a trading room, you're going to get to know somebody, and that's okay with me. And remember, for this, you're getting it for free. Okay, it's YouTube. It's BoobTube. Okay. All right. So what's going on? All right. So we're tempted to look at the profile and maybe take a trade. Oh, look, maybe you're going to short here. Well, that might work, but maybe that's as high as it's going to get. Maybe there's another target up here. We don't want to get in front of it. The pace is slow. So let's back up a second. Let's back up. Let's really back up. Take another step back. Okay. So we're going to look at this on in the last couple months. Okay, we're in a big, ginormous trading range, and in particular, we're in the middle of a balance area. Okay, so I'm going to guess that if I was to throw a several month volume profile in here, we are probably somewhere around the volume point of control. Now, I don't know. I'm not concerned about way out here. Okay, I'm more concerned because a lot of that volume may be already dealt with. It's gone, not there anymore. Okay, so I'm going to look anywhere from 30 days to 90 days, something like that, and see where the VPOC is. And we can do that very quickly. If we go over to right here, well, actually, on the daily chart. Okay, it's way down here. Okay, so we're far above it. All right, and we are not. Yeah, we're far above it. So we're getting, out of value. Okay. So let's get back to bigger time frame. Now I've got this little channel situation going on in this trend line here, particularly, and we found purchase below it. And I put this on here. Oh man, December or November, probably December. And here we are in February, and this is very bullish looking, isn't it? Okay. And we have the balance area situation where we came out below it, came back in it, and we're generally going to explore it to the upside. And that's up at near 2,900. Okay. So let's take yet another step back. Actually, we're taking it one step closer. Look at the weekly. Okay. So on a weekly basis, we've traversed the 78.6. I can get rid of this now. I'd still say we're at the 78.6 mark, but we're a bit of a way. We're 41 points above it, so maybe not. So let's take yet another step back. Okay, I'll put it up back here. I'm not sure which one of these is the high. I think this one's the high, but I better be sure, because when you get on a bigger time frame, there's a tip. You get on a bigger time frame, the slightest little difference can make a big difference in price. So let's see here. The high here is 48.25. The high here is 50.50. Okay, that's almost 2 points. So I want to make sure yeah, okay, we're there. All right. Okay, 78.6 is here. Where is the 618? Let's throw that on there. Okay, we're above that. All right, so we're between the 618 and 78.6. This is sort of reversal territory, but could we possibly have a head and shoulder situation going on where we might expect to see a move back like this? Possible. Where would that happen? Well, I don't like this 20 moving average. First of all, we've got a gap between the low of this week and down in the 20 moving average, and it's pointed down. That very often, I don't want to say it acts as a magnet. It doesn't act as a magnet, but the dynamics which create that moving average tend to play out where we're going to get this start to go sideways a bit, and we're going to get a touch back to it at some point. So I feel the upside is limited, at least for today. As far as we're not going up to 2,900, I'm not worried about that. Okay. Do I want to get on board long? I'm not so sure yet. All right. So now we're on a daily. This is a 24-hour chart. Okay. Now here's something more useful and interesting. So here's a high. Okay. Right here. And I'm going to snap to higher low. All right. I want to find out what price that is. 27.37.75. So let's go back to our more active chart here. 27. Wait a minute. What did I say? 37.75. Is that what I said? I think that's what I said. Yeah, and I can already see right now, 37.75 is right here, the D low. So how about this? Look at this now. We've got a the D low. I'm going to color this blue to remember this. Okay, D low here is right where we took out that prior day's high. Okay, so this may be, now we've got a separate distribution. Now this is important. Okay, so this is a new area, this blue one. Remember that. Okay, this is gonna be a long video, I guess, so you can step off if you want. Whoops. Okay, 20 moving average. Every time we've approached it on this chart, it's not been touched. I'm not expecting that to happen again today either. We've got several daily lows we'd have to take out. We do have a reversal pattern right here. Okay, that's very bullish. So far everything's saying bullish. Okay, the news, structure, patterns, the levels. Okay, all right. Yeah, that's about, I don't see 60-minute bars that are much longer than that very often. Now here was one, so it is possible. Okay, now that's important. This is what you call your average range. So the 60-minute bar. Let's take a look and see what this looks like from here. Okay, there's still some potential if it was going to go there, and it might. It looks like we're getting a slow grind. Okay, now let's. I'm going to close this chart book. And we've got a gap up today. Okay, that's very bullish. Now this is interesting. So on the regular trading hours, we've got a 20 moving average at about 2046.75, 27.46.75. I want to make sure that I got that marked out here. How about that? Now these areas, other than the blue one I just put in, they've been on there since last week. So we've got a I'm not going to necessarily change that. This is the moving average here. Make this red, and I'm going to actually label it. Okay, I'm going to put what's today? 212 200 MA. Actually, it's a simple moving average. So simple. Okay. All right, so now I know that's there, and we could get some throw over to it or even above it of this area right here. All right, so now we're looking at 24-hour chart again on my regular stuff here. Got the 200 moving average. You probably can barely see it. It's a darker red color right where we left it. Okay. All right, I got a trend line here that we've come back inside of. And I kind of want to find out what that low is, or excuse me, what that little area is, which coincides with another moving average. It's a yellow one, which is a Hull moving average. Let's see here. I'm going to put this And again, why do I use certain moving averages? Well, I selected several to work with, and I've gotten familiar with how how the market operates around them, and that's how that happened. Okay, that's a real, if you're like me and you're analytical and you like to think about things and understand the whys, that stuff can drive you crazy. It's like, why is he using that? I don't understand why it works or whatever. Well, sometimes, and it really is true, you can't worry about why it works. Just know that it does. Okay, um, and it'll come to you eventually what you need to know. 3475 ish, 35, 27, 3475. All right, select the profile. So that number sounds familiar. 3775, 3475. That's quite a bit of a range here, but that's where it looks like we broke out. Maybe it's even 3550 because again, it's kind of hard to get really dialed in on exactly what this line is. I realize this is a long video. It's about a lot of stuff that normally I don't talk about, and I invited somebody to send me a private message to let me know what you think. And take it easy on me, okay? It's trying to help, and I'm just doing the things that I would want somebody to do for me, okay? Like if I had questions, show me what the heck, how do you figure this stuff out? Well, first of all, even going through these motions means nothing until you get experience with it. Okay, 35 quarter, that's a little higher. 35 quarter. That makes a little more sense. It's the IB high where that trend line was. So let's say it's the IB high. Okay, anything above the IB high, we're bullish. Anything below, we want to look short. Okay, this is what we're talking. Anything above that, when here in 37.75, this is a bullish area. I kind of don't want to change these. I don't want to make a area here to trade off of because I want to back up for a second. So the pace of tape right now is really slow. Sure we had an open drive, but this has been really slow. We are not even really one time framing up yet. Okay. Likely we will. So at this point, the middle of D, which we got 8 minutes till it closes, is right here at the bottom of this area at 40 quarter. You got the C high here. Personally, I would want to go with this unless I had other indications, which I don't at the moment. I'm not looking at it, that things may be starting to turn around. But just my first disposition is I may want to get long between, say, 40.50 and 39 quarter, somewhere in here. Okay. So not sure. That's sort of my first thoughts as far as trade ideas. You start to, you're here to get trade ideas and make trades. Okay. So everything really is, that's the goal and focal point is like, how does this play into positioning? Okay. You don't know what you're looking at, or you don't really sure, then your position is no position, which is a position. Okay. Think about that for a minute. You maybe have heard that before or something along those lines. Okay. So again, we gapped up. How far did we gap up? 626.75 to 1750. Okay. That's almost a 10-point gap. That's pretty significant, and it makes sense we didn't close it, even though we did make a directional down towards it. Okay, open, test, and drive here. We didn't even get below the opening range. And this would have been an excellent opening range trade with a few concerns. Might have been a little choppy at first. I'm not sure. I wasn't here. But we gapped up, and after a few minutes, you want to go with the opening range. However, you'd have been trading into this X high, the overnight high, and of course, if the first tick or so was right where this volume area was, where there was to be selling. Now here's something else interesting. Yesterday, this volume area formed where this red zone was, red area. Gotta watch my language. I was thought we were looking at the same one. This was last night. In this area, again, you can go back and look. I'm sure at some point, I mean, if you want to just really check your facts and all this stuff, or check my facts, this area was on there since probably last week sometime. I don't know when last week, but sometime. I don't believe I put that on there. I don't think I drew really any yesterday except this green one, which now I've forgotten what that was all about. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. So I want to look at something else. Now let's look at a smaller time frame. Now, first, let's just go back the overnight. Let's build our confidence in these areas. You know, we've already seen how they play out, but let's say, is it, you know, if I decide I do want to trade it, how much throwover are we getting? How much, how reliable are they? You know, so good to kind of, I'm kind of in a hurry and I don't really want to take this much time, but that's taking too long. I don't feel like doing this. I do it very quickly. So looks like I got some throwover on that. That, you know, again, usually by this time of the week, I've made some adjustments, but we hadn't been in this area, and I haven't looked to do that yet. Maybe tonight. Okay, now there's the open. Those are nice. Yeah, we, you know, instead of doing the overnight, we're just going to do for the day. Let's just kind of get a feel for this price action. Pretty strong in the open. After the initial tick down, you had a pretty, which looked like more of a stop run here. Let's yeah, and this video is probably more palatable live versus watching it recorded, unless you're that hungry, you know, and that's good. That's good. Okay, you know, so this would now be, these would be blue. Might as well go ahead and do that now. I'll change others later. Interesting. Once again, we came into this gray balance area. We made it to the other side, went above it a little bit, kind of found value back in it, and then it held right here in the middle. Now we went and it came back up, and you know, I don't like, you know, these, there's a lot of vocabulary in trading I don't really care for. Like I was about to say, tested this. You know, I don't think people are like, let's push the market up here and test this. That's just not how it works. So there's a lot of like kind of imbecilic language that, you know, and maybe I'm the imbecile, and that's doesn't really understand the etymology of the word, and there's probably more to it than I know. But the thing is, I don't really care for that. I think it's misleading, and it really is not conducive to understanding and thinking in terms of the trading, like if you were on the market for the auction, you know, or the buying and selling dynamics and process between traders. Okay, so we're about, here's where we are. The red means London's about to close. So going into the close, there was still a lot of buying. Now there's a little consolidation as that probably wraps up over there. Will we get a move down? You know, maybe. Things are kind of going sideways now, whereas the last TPO, they've made a breakup. Okay. Maybe as the JOLTS news kind of really took into effect, had a half hour to sort of shake out, and you know, then it finally is they put the market down and bought lower, get better prices possibly. I don't know. Just kind of thinking what's going on. So, you know, we do seem to be building some more value up here. All right, now I think it's time to look at a let's look at a smaller time frame chart, 15-minute. Okay, so this trend line I put in yesterday, we came along it. Now we're above it. So what I can see is at some point move back down. If we do get into this initial balance high, which is right here, we would have broken the trend line if we come down sooner than the next one. So possibly we may see a move in the next hour or two, or maybe towards the later of the day if it doesn't, you know, just trying to, I'm not sure if I'm conveying like how this works out. Each one of these little jumps is a 15-minute bar. Okay. If it came down now in the next 15 minutes, like if I was thinking, oh, we're gonna better short it, it'd be coming straight down to get to this high. That would be a pretty violent move, really, that much range. Not really feeling the dynamics for that. We're getting a new TPO. Let's take a look here now. Going to get a new TPO. We're close enough to the high that an open here possibly going to be an open drive down, or it's going to be make a poor high. Or if we don't get a tick, okay, we've already ticked down. We don't get another tick. There we go. Okay. So what I'm not expecting is, that we would have a breakout type of trade. So here we are, and I talked about before this area being a potential buy area. And this is the middle of D in the bottom of this area. I can't remember all I said there, but this is be a place that I potentially might want to get long if I'm feeling that bullish. Now, as I'm looking actually some other things here, 40. I'm expecting it to tick down possibly to this volume node. Okay, let's say, and again, I'm not quite ready to, I was just going to put a trade on there, like a figurative trade. Okay, let's do it again. I'm not sure if we're going to get any more downside, but I definitely think we'll get enough to be able to get filled. Let's see here. Okay, right here on this edge, okay, 1, 2, I want to hit it 5 times to kind of simulate getting filled here. 3, okay, we went through it, so we're filled. Now again, may have been a bit of impatience. We could get a move down to close a single print. Where's the stop? Well, that's nobody's business but mine. And again, this is just to talk through, because this happened while I'm doing the video, what a potential trade might be, an idea. We are potentially one time framing up. We've got that 200 moving average destination, another area over here, which not exactly, I can't recall off the top of my head what those prices meant, but when I put this in, it was very, very methodical. Okay, so, all right, so let's see here. We're going to get any more to the upside. We're going to get a little push down first. Okay, we can take a little heat. Am I going to want to get out of the trade? There's potential all the way down to the bottom of this distribution here. You see, like the volume built right here. Okay, going to hold a single print. So far, I've taken two ticks of heat. A lesson in here would have been, I had a momentary FOMO, fear of missing out, and I'm like, I better get filled, partly because I wanted to do this for the video. I've enjoyed talking through the trade. Now that really helps dial me in, because now, even if it's not a real trade, which it's not, I get excited about it. I mean, if you don't take your practice trading seriously, you're making a mistake. I mean, it's okay to play around now and again, but let me tell you, you got to, it's like a child, a baby. You're going to play with things. You're going to take them apart. You're going to, be rough with them and see what happens. You've seen what happens. And that you can learn a lot from that. But you also, if you're taking it seriously or not, if it bothers you when you lose. Okay. And so I like them to win, whether there's real money involved or whether I'm just trying something out, or in this case, doing it for the video. Okay, so again, this blue line indicates we meaning me, the video is long at 40 quarter. How about that? I really want it to go soon. I'm not liking that it's not yet. I'd give it a little bit more time before I start thinking maybe you better bail on this. It does seem to be being held. Got pretty good build at 39.50, but want to watch that. And you can see now there's other things I use to look at this, but you can see the red here is a lot bigger than the blue. That means there was a lot of selling going on, but it didn't move. A lot more selling, two to three times more selling than buying, and the sellers weren't getting anywhere. And this was about equal on this price, and same on the price that the videographer is figuratively long from. Okay. So, we're watching this, see what happens. Where would we get out? Well, when you get out, when you can't take it anymore, when something's changed. Right now, a lot could happen before something's really changed as far as being bullish or the market going to continue up. It's unusual to have an open drive one way and an open drive the other. Okay. And one of them not be taken out. So now the question is, which one? Getting a little bit of a flush here. How much flush are we going to get? Are we going to get another move up? So how much are we going to go for? Those are other questions. What are we looking for? Are we just getting to the back to the open of E? When we get 3 ticks, are we going to get so sick of this trade we want to get out? That's a possibility. I'm the longer it's staying down here, I have 2 choices. I can like it even more or love it even more. Like it more because as much as they keep pressing it down, it's not dropping. Love it even, yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say. Like it or love it even more. Not like it more because not getting anywhere. I don't like that. That means I'm kind of early. But, again, I'm only looking at the profile chart really as far as making this, quote, figurative trade. I'm not calling it sim because this is not on a sim account. This is just a line on a chart. And we traded through it. And that means that had it been any other kind of account, it would have been filled. So, and that's one of the downsides too, is because I have to do that in order to validate the fact that, yeah, we would be long here. So, all right, may look for one more tick down. If it gets into the C area, I'm not going to like that. I'm expecting it to maybe tick down a little bit more, 1 or 2 more ticks, and then go, or go right away. But if it goes much further than that, I'd look for, I'd want to exit. Thing is, all these people selling or taking profits or whatever, there's somebody underneath buying, and why are they buying there? Because they expect it's going to go up. But there are also those who are doing that and lost my train of thought. Sorry. There are also those who are doing that who may do a fake out and let it drop a bit. Again, I'm not in that kind of position to play those kind of games, but I just watch them, and that's what I've discerned to be happening. All right, not liking this, but this is one of those situations where right when I've run out of patience for it, and let's say I've flattened and scratched the trade, it goes. Ask me how I know that. So I could have taken the same trade just from experience and things without doing all the prior stuff that we did, but I feel a lot better about it and more sure of it. Sure of taking the shot, not sure whether it's going to work out. I'm never sure. I don't know it's going to work out until it does. So we're getting a little movement. Could slam back down. We really want to see some pretty decent movement. Want to take out that E high. What I'm looking for is to get up to about 41.75. That would be a 1.5 point trade. I think that's reasonable. May not happen. Another thing that I forgot to put on my list of stuff I need to do. So last night I still had my charts up, and I closed one of my charts that I like to use for an indicator, and I have not even been looking at it. And that was foolish. There's many times it's the tick, the nicey tick, which I can get into that at a deeper level. I mean, when these videos and what I'm doing here is at a deeper level, not on a deeper level. What I mean is that can be very useful for timing, and I didn't even look at it. I was just caught up in making the video. And as I said yesterday, I really need to, I got to practice this, because to be able to trade and talk and entertain and educate and guide and still be effective as a trader, I'm using very, very different skill sets, and I need to maintain the number one for me is my trading. I did not get into trading to have anything to do with other traders other than take their money. That's it. I wanted to trade and profit. That's it. I did not care about whether or not anybody else is a good trader or not. But having been somewhat victimized by the trading education industry, or suckered, or whatever you want to say, I'm not saying it's all been bad or that everybody's bad at all. I just think there's things that could be done better, and I think there's a lot of people that educate trading that don't approach it from a perspective of somebody not really knowing how to get there. And okay, got to pay more attention to what's going on here. All right, so one thing we know that's happening is this is a critical area where something's going to happen one way or the other, and it could go either way. So do you get out? I think at this point there could be another flush down, but I think if it again, if it got to, let's say, well, I won't even say, I don't want to say. All I know is that I really need to see it make a move up soon. And I'm going to do something here just a moment. So this video is, a little unusual. It's quite long, and it might even intimidate people who started watching it thinking, or not start watching it, saw the timeline on it, said, I'm not watching that. It's 45 minutes long. Well, hopefully there's been some gems along the way. But yeah, sometimes trades take a little bit of time to work. So there's 2 or 3 ticks. You had a target of 3 ticks on one, that would be very helpful. That would pretty much could pay for the trade entirely if it ends up turning around, if you manage this right. Meaning, let's say you had a stop on there, you moved it to just below the E low, and you got stopped out on your second one or your other half of your position size or whatever you're doing. Okay, boom, you've paid for it. Well, you might be down, $5 to $25 in fees, but if you're playing at that level, that's the cost of doing business, right? So I'm expecting that there's a lot of stops above 41.75 at this point. Very encouraged. We might get a couple stabs down, that we'll get a bit of a short covering and a run up to make a poor high. Not expecting a blatant breakout, but thus far in this trade, though it took quite a while, we've taken 2 ticks of heat. We've gotten certainly 3 ticks of profit, potentially, depending on when somebody if they had an exit here, one point, and now they've gotten 1 point. Now we're at 5 ticks. There's 4 hits. Let's see if we get 5 hits. Of course, if you're like me, you want to go for, what we were looking for is 6 ticks. 41.75, this trade will have been a complete success at 6 ticks. Okay, we've hit it. Doesn't mean we would have been filled. We need to see it pop up yet. But we're expecting, what's the market likely to do next? Make a poor high. Okay, and then it'll probably be some selling off of that. I would not want to get into being a fancy pants and try to short it now, because shorting a poor high is often a good play, or going long a poor low on the first attempt at the breakout, if that's what it is. But we've kept hitting this. It's not quite, I'd say, I think we've gone through now 42. Let's double check it. 42. All right, there's your 1.5. Okay, 1.5, 2 ticks. Okay, there's your what is that, 3-to-1 ratio? Okay, 3-to-1 ratio. You're welcome. There you go. Okay, there's your trade. You were watching live and dared to get in on it. It's probably going higher, and there might be even a short first. Probably even a pullback to the middle of this. We'll see. If somebody wanted to. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it all. Again, I'm making a video, and this just happened. And it's like, if I was not making a video and was ready, set, go, this might have been a trade I would have taken for money. So there you go. Okay. All right. So I feel I'm pretty well dialed in. I'm pretty well dialed in. I will leave with a couple of Fibonacci situations going on here, but I want to look at it on a smaller time frame, say 5 minute. I want to do this little deal here. So let's see. Okay. I would be looking for longs along this trend line. And if it stays below it, I'd be looking for, it potentially to reverse, which may happen after. Don't forget, where maybe we going? Where are we maybe going? There we go. Finally got it out. Possibly this 200 moving average. Let's take a plane ride. Okay, you can probably barely see it. It's right here. right there. Got this gap. We've got sort of a big island reversal in a way. That's bullish. Okay, that's bullish. All right. Well, I hope this video has been instructive, helpful, a little fun, and you know, yeah. Okay. So, like I said, a short would have actually been a better trade as far as quicker to get a point or 5 ticks or maybe even 6. I don't know where it went to, than the long we took. Okay. And this is hopefully instructive in the fact of getting on board on what may ultimately tend to be or look to be a trend day. We've got range extension to the upside. We're possibly going to be one-time framing. We've got at least 2 distributions, right now 3. That's very bullish for the moment. Things can change. Remember, in an hour, we've got the Fed announcement, speech, market manipulation, however you like to look at it, by Powell. So, okay, end the video. Have a good day. Thanks.